Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good.
So where are you from originally?
So originally I'm from Cornwall, and then I made the move up north when I went to uni. I went to uni in Leeds, and then eventually came over to Manchester. So, yeah, been all over the place really.
So did you do music at uni?
Yes, of course.
Oh, do you think that's helped like your career and did it help you much?
Yes and no. It kind of helped me sort of meet people that sort of like helped me get into music and stuff, and it helped me. I do sort of know music theory a bit more now, but I don't think it really helped with like getting a gig or anything like that. But yeah.
So growing up, are your family musical at all?
No. I don't know how I popped out musical, but yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So how did you discover music?
Well, we had a piano in our house which nobody played, but since I started walking I would always like go over and just like try and play the keys and stuff. So my mum saw I was interested, and then she got me piano lessons, and then it just kind of like spiraled from there basically.
Yeah. So when did you start writing music?
When I was really young. I think I wrote my first song when I was like 7. It was like, I think it was about a dinosaur, and then the second song I ever wrote was about not wanting to go to bed. So I've been writing music since like as long as I can remember. Like I feel like as soon as I learned how to write, I started writing music as well.
And when did it sort of get to the stage where you thought, oh, I could do this as a career?
I think like the first time I realised like I wanted to be an artist, again it was quite young. I remember I was in like year 3 or 4, and we were doing space of all topics as a module, and to introduce the topic, our teacher played us David Bowie.
Oh wow.
And I'd never heard David Bowie before, and he played 2 David Bowie songs. He played Space Oddity and Starman, I think, something like that. And I was just absolutely hooked. I was like, what the hell is this music? What is this? And then I remember my mum picked me up and I was like, Mum, have you ever heard of this guy called David Bowie? And she just laughed because she's a massive Bowie fan. So she just gave me all her Bowie CDs, and I got obsessed. And then I begged her to get me a guitar because I didn't think piano was cool enough anymore. So ever since then I was just like in love with like his artistry. And ever since that point, it's like what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because your name on social media.
It is a Ziggy Stardust reference.
Yeah. So what is it about David Bowie's music, do you think? Because it's very unique.
It's very unique. Like whenever I try and learn how to play a David Bowie song, it's like the chords go all over the place. He never does just like a 4-chord song or a 3-chord song. And his melodies are just like, they go to places you wouldn't usually think they'd go to, and like the stuff he writes about is just like really unique. So yeah, I've always just loved that about him. Yeah, big inspiration.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you were ever on stage performing to people?
Yes, I played at a school gig, but it wasn't my own school.
Oh.
So I was in a band, but all the other band members went to a different school, so I bunked off my school to go play their school assembly, and I remember being so nervous. I must have been about 14. And I was the singer in the band, and I remember barely even singing into the mic because I was so nervous. And I wanted to just throw up, but then after coming off stage I was like, that's the best thing ever, let's do it again.
So I was going to ask you, do you experience stage fright?
I used to get it quite badly. I'm okay with it nowadays usually, unless it's like a massive sort of gig. But thankfully now it's not as bad as it was.
So as well as being a solo artist, you're in the band Petty Things.
Yes.
So how does being in a band compare to being a solo artist?
I love both for very different reasons. Obviously being in a band is so much more collaborative, and you kind of feel like you're in a gang and you win together and you lose together, which is nice because you kind of like share the burden out. When it's a solo artist, everything's on you to do everything, to do all the writing, all the promotion, getting all the gigs, but then you have sort of like more control at the same time, and you can make it really how you want the music to be. So like I really love both. I think being in band is the coolest thing ever. But also writing songs on your own sometimes is just really like, therapeutic.
Do you ever find it hard to juggle being in the band and working on your own music?
It can be, especially when you've got like gigs all around the same time and it gets super busy. But But at the moment, I feel like I've got quite a good balance between the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you start to write a song, do you ever think, oh, should I take this to the band, or is this more like my own thing?
I think there's quite a distinction because the band's quite like rocky, quite punky. So if I'm writing like quite a guitar-y song, then like I know that's definitely a band song. Whereas like my solo stuff's a lot more like songwritery, like synthy. So they're quite distinct from each other, which I think is like a good thing because it never feels like, oh, I've written the song but I want to keep it for myself but I should give it to the band. It's like they're very two different genres. So yeah.
So you previously described your music as indie synth pop. What other artists do you think would fall into that category?
That's a good question. I don't know really. I think there's a few like newer artists that might fall under that bracket, but I don't think it's quite a common genre. I think you either get synth pop. I say indie because I've always been in indie bands, so I feel like a lot of that inspires the music as well. Like it's not quite straightforward synth pop.
Yeah.
I don't know what artist I'd put into that category.
Do you sort of make music that is the music you'd want to listen to?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I listen to my own music all the time, which I feel like is really like egotistical, but it's just because I like it.
Yeah,
so,
that's probably the way to go. You know it's good because it's what you'd want to hear. Do you ever wish you were a musician in like the 70s and 80s and didn't have to deal with like social media and
all the time? All the time. I reckon most musicians would probably take that because you also got paid a lot better as well. Yeah, it's the social media thing. It's such a love-hate relationship. I love it because it's free promo and like you get out what you put in most of the time. Sometimes you don't. But, but also I kind of love the idea of just making the music and then just hiding in your little studio. When they started talking about doing like 4 TikToks a day, I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, but it's a love-hate relationship, definitely.
Yeah. Do you find that any social media platform is better than any others to sort of gain an audience?
It's so strange. I feel like they flip-flop all the time. Like, for a while it was TikTok, but I always had more success on Instagram, and now I think people are finding success on Instagram and not on TikTok, and Facebook's just a whole other thing, and so is YouTube. So I think like it depends how they set their algorithms. I think it always changes. At the moment I think Instagram's doing well for small artists, but it was originally TikTok. So
that's interesting. I didn't think it like changed around.
I think like if Instagram see that TikTok are doing well in one area, they were like, oh, let's copy that. And it's like just leveling up each other. But I don't know. If I knew, I'd be doing it.
Yeah. Does film and TV ever inspire your music?
Yes, definitely. I get very inspired by like David Lynch films all the time. Like a lot of my songs have been inspired by his sort of worlds. And when I was in like COVID and writing music, I was watching a lot of films and like writing a lot of music, and the two were just like constantly influencing each other.
So my next question was going to be, do you think there's a film that lives in the same universe as your music? Would it be a David Lynch film?
Maybe a David Lynch film, or maybe just like the Twin Peaks universe in that sort of like dreamy kind of like Roadhouse kind of era. But then it's quite like synthy as well and upbeat at some point, so then other songs no, but yeah, I have a few that I feel like would fit in that world.
So you haven't released any solo music for about a year. Do you have any more coming?
Yes, so I have a few ready to go.
Oh, nice.
The plan is to try and like release them all like pretty consistently. So I've been trying to like build, I think a lot of artists are doing this at the moment, but like build up a bit of a catalogue so that you can be like really consistent with the releasing, because sometimes when you have one ready to go but nothing else, it's like you put one out, it does well, but then you've got nothing to follow it up with. So I've got like 2 or 3 ready to go, and I want to get a few more and then hopefully just have a really strong like release strategy.
For the last question, I have this book. If you want to turn to a random page and answer the question.
Okay. Right. If you could have a walk-on song play every time you enter a room, what would it be? That's such a good question. A walk-on song. I feel like some sort of Frank Sinatra or something would be pretty cool. Like something completely different to what my music sounds like. I once walked onto the Wii Music Sports theme, which I thought was pretty funny.
I feel like that would get annoying.
But yeah, maybe something cool like like a My Way by Frank Sinatra or something like that, something really dramatic.
Yeah.
Or that was the first thing that came to
Yeah,
my
you have to
mind.
go with the first. There we go. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks so much.